September the 25th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at one of the most powerful hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico that I've ever seen. Look at that center winding up. Now they're saying it's going to come ashore as a Cat 4 with Cat 5 winds. That's what we've been talking about the entire time. And it may come ashore as a Cat 5 because it's moving so fast, it's intensifying so fast. I just want to point out a couple of things while we're on this Gulf of Mexico satellite. One of the things that I have seen with this, what I call the super hurricanes, the Katrinas, the Camilles, the Ians, all of that, guys, all the ones you can name, one of the signatures is this feathering before they become very powerful. You see that very fine edge. I'm going to zoom it up and show you what I'm talking about. Right there again, sun is starting to set to our right, and the colors are changing. This thing is moving very fast under here. Now, let's switch it for a moment to the water vapor loop. You can see how much moisture's in here. And I actually had some family and friends that canceled a trip that they were leaving for tomorrow for Panama City because they watch our channel. In Panama City, you've been getting rain all day, and this thing's going to be coming very close to you. But see this feathering, this very light feathering right there? That is the classic sign of a very strong and fast energy pulse within this storm. This thing may be one for the record books. If I was anywhere into the area that's coming into, guys, I would head north, and it's going to be a Category 1 hurricane, very close to a Category 2, all the way into Georgia. So, Florida, you're talking about Jacksonville, all of this area here. It pretty much looks like it's going to come into the Big Bend in this cup or this bowl right there. Of course, that's going to increase the intensity of everything when you funnel something into a smaller point. Check that out. But these featherings, guys, that's a sign that you don't want to see. And looking at it in the infrared, the size of this thing is amazing. I've seen some storms coming here very powerful, but this size and this power combination is rare. I've seen Cat 3s and Cat 4s that were half this size and be very damaging. But look at the extent of how far it reaches out, and it's just coming into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, they have upgraded the speed of this thing. Let's take a look at that. Now, what has changed? It's this last forecast that we've been talking about for a couple of days before it moves inland. See that? 115 knot sustained winds with 140 knot gust. 115 knots, guys, is a Cat 4 that's 132 miles an hour, and a Cat 1 starts at 131. But that 140 knots, guys, that's 161.1 miles per hour, well into very strong Category 5 gusts because they start at 155 and 156 right in that area. The gust will be picking up out in front of the storm. But so we've got a Cat 4 with very powerful 161 mile per hour storm or gust coming in within 24 hours. Just think about what I'm saying, and then when it comes inland, right here at 3284.61, guys, that's into Georgia. 70 knots to 90 knot gust. Hold on a minute, I'll show you what that means. So let's look at the chart just a moment. 70 mile per hour knot is an 81 mile per hour hurricane. That's coming in there at 74 miles per hour. In the 80 mile gust, this is already into Georgia. Okay, headed up towards Atlanta. 80 is 92 mile per hour gust. So we're strong Cat 1 that far inland. Now, this is the latest update. It's 4 p.m. Central Time, so this is about an hour ago. But again, a major hurricane, and right before coming ashore, it's going to be a Cat 4. Look at this, a hurricane all the way up into central Georgia. That's what I'm talking about. But right now, the sustained winds are 85. I think 96, it gets into a Cat 2. That's going to happen very quickly. But in the red, you have hurricane warnings. In the blue, tropical storm warnings. This is how wide, not the hurricane force winds, but the tropical storm force winds are. And they're going to be very strong. But look how wide that is. That's as wide as from Mississippi to all the way down into this section of Florida. So even though it's coming in right here, Panama City, you're at least will be on the better quadrant of it. But this section of Florida, don't stay. Tallahassee's not going to really be safe. If you could get out, you don't have much more time. If you want to try to make it through this, that's on you guys, but please don't do it. But I would move west, maybe into Mississippi or maybe northern Louisiana, anywhere in there that you can find a room. But I bet you there's a lot of evacuees already leaving. Maybe some of them are going to the family homes, but a lot are going into these motel rooms. This is the problem with the National Hurricane Center, Fox News, the Navy models, mainstream media. They're not giving you the heads up you need to get out in time. Again, this is red states. We're coming up upon an election. Now, what's changed here is this was 10 to 15 feet now in the purple area. Here's the Suwannee River, 15 to 20 feet, guys. The red area is 10 to 15. All the way through here, get into the yellow up to 6 feet. That's into Panama City, that area. And again, this all depends if it tracks this way. If it were just a shift a little bit more this way, all of this 15 to 20 foot storm surge would be coming your way. But even if it shifted just a little bit, guys, the northeast quadrant's still going to be pushing it in here. So look at your sea level, where you're at. If you're along the beach or a few blocks in or a few miles, are you 20 feet above sea level? And especially in the lower lying areas, because you're going to have that height. Plus, if it depends on the high or low tide, add a couple more feet or take it away. And tomorrow we'll start looking at some of the buoys in this area. That will give us the height of the waves that you can add on top of this 20 foot. No place to be. You want to get out of there if you can. Again, evacuate north and west. Make sure your cars are full. I've been asking you to do this for several days now, because in case you had to rapidly get out of town, then all the gas hasn't been pumped out by the people that were ahead of you in the game. Water, gas, food, places to stay. It's time now to get your family together. If you're anywhere in this area, again, Cat 1 coming up into Georgia, and just think about it. The Florida Keys, you're several hundred miles south of where the center of the storm is going to come in, right along here. But you're already talking about 1 to 3 feet seas down in the Keys, 3 to 5 foot up to Inglewood. Then think about this, from there all the way past Tampa, 5 to 8 foot storm surge in the bays. And that is always that funneling effect that makes everything more intense. This is the latest from Fox Hurricane. Again, here's a Cat 4, guys, and this is still far enough offshore for this to become a Cat 5, another Michael. Pay very close attention. 85 mile per hour sustained winds north of 12, barometric pressure at 978 millibars, and this has been out, this is probably about an hour now. Now let's take a look at the Canadian model, guys. Play this forward. Again, this thing is splitting the point coming into this section of Florida right here along the Key. Cedar Key, is that what's right there? But anyway, this storm is showing another one pulling in here up until October the 5th, another one in the Atlantic. Right now, that thing is splitting. It's not all of it going into this area. But at Panama City, Fort Walton, more than likely you'll start getting winds coming from your back, blowing offshore, not onshore, until it gets closer to you. Right now, though, as it approaches, you're going to be seeing south winds from the southeast moving northwest. Very powerful storm, guys. You can't play with it. And just a quick look. Again, the storm center is not going to come anywhere close to the Keys, but this is the southernmost point of the U.S. down in the Keys. And what you're seeing there, this is very shallow. I've seen it when the tide was out. You could almost see sand in many places. Right now, it's starting to pick up. That's how wide of this effect will be, guys. The storm is probably already close to moving parallel offshore, and these are just winds pulling in behind it. So just keep an eye on this thing, guys. Please heed all evacuation warnings. Don't play with it. You could come back to find nothing but sand where you live now. It's a heads up, guys. It's a major warning. Be safe.